Hi everyone, I hope all of you guys are doing well. So today I'm going to cover something that you will probably never learn in coaching classes or any of the other YouTube channels ever, which is how to solve the back of the chapter questions from NCERT and how these questions at the back of the NCERT chapters can really help you to excel in UPSC mains when it comes to answer writing and even for prelims, because these questions will help you to understand the various concepts really well. So at the back of every chapter of NCERT books, so for example, this is the physical geography book, Fundamentals of Physical Geography, class 11th book, NCERT book. This book is a must for UPSC aspirants. Even though there are other books available, I recommend that you must definitely go through this book at least once, because it will really help you to consolidate all your concepts. And in this particular book, I am going to show you this. For example, this chapter, water, if you go to the back of this chapter, there are these questions given, multiple choice questions, like here in the exercises part. Then there are these 30 words questions, which are small questions, and then there are these 150 word questions. You can ignore the project work obviously, because this is practical. So like this, at the back of every chapter, these questions are given, and these questions are absolutely a must for you to do when you are preparing for UPSC, because without them, I do not think that your conceptual clarity will be there. Your overall understanding, top to bottom understanding of various concepts will be there. So let's go and dive right into it. I hope you read this chapter before watching this video. Go ahead and read water, oceans chapter if you have not read it, if you don't know about this particular topic. And from the oceans, we are going to attempt 2 or 3 questions given at the back of the exercise, so that you know the importance and how to exactly present them for UPSC in mains, and how this will also help you in prelims. So for prelims, I would suggest that you solve these exercise questions, multiple choice questions. Like here they have given, identify the element which is not part of hydrological cycle. So here the hydrological cycle of the earth is given: precipitation, condensation, evapotranspiration, condensation, precipitation, etc., runoff of water. And here these options are given. Now obviously UPSC does not ask you simple and easy questions like this, but these questions help you to understand the major portions or the major concepts of the chapter, and they also help you to break the monotony from reading. They help you to test yourself, they help you to keep yourself perpetually in a state of preparing for the exam, which is very, very important. So here these questions are given. I suggest that you obviously look over these questions. Then after that, these 30 word questions are given, which are very short, but they are good to clarify your various concepts, like what is a continental margin. Now continental margin is here after when you are reading about the divisions of the ocean floors, and they have also given the diagram, and here you can see the continental margin. So what happens is, once you have read the chapter, then you don't know how to actually absorb, what are the important concepts to absorb from the chapter, and these questions help you to absorb and revise and be able to recall them in a more efficient way, in a better way. So that is why I am saying that you should definitely look at all these different questions given at the back of the exercise. Now what we will do is, we will solve these questions which are more important for UPSC, but without these there is no point of doing these. So that's why I always say that do these ones also. Then after that, what you should do is, and you don't have to do them in a plain paper, you don't have to write, you can just make notes here. You can, because these are 30 words, so two lines you can, or in your mentally you can revise them. You don't have to always revise them by writing. Alright, now answer the following questions in about 150 words. This is what we are going to look at. In UPSC also they ask you questions in about 150 words. So that's why these questions are important. So this is how are various elements of the hydrological cycle interrelated. Now first of all, to answer this question, you should know what is hydrological cycle. Number 1, okay, I am going to write with my pen, so don't mind those who love new books. So what is hydrological cycle? You will have to define that, and then you will have to write what are the elements of the hydrological cycle, what are the various elements, what are the various different components of the hydrological cycle, and how these are interrelated. Okay, because that is the main part of the question, basically how these parts of the hydrological cycle are interrelated. Now you should try to answer this question in your own mind when you are reading this chapter, when at the end of the day you are actually practicing these particular questions. But the way I would like to do it is, I would also go, let's say I'm not able to remember, I would go back and read it again and then try to answer it. Then try to answer it in my own mind, or you can also take a blank piece of paper and try to write it down. Alright. So hydrological cycle, here the definition is given. Water, so here the good diagram is given, what is a hydrological cycle. Here the various components and processes are given, and after that they have also given much detailed analysis of that. So water is a cyclic resource. It can be used and reused. Water also undergoes a cycle from the ocean to land and land to ocean. So basically water goes from ocean to land and then from land to ocean back. So like this, there is a cycle of water, and that is called as the hydrological cycle. This movement of water between the ocean and the land is known as the hydrological cycle. It's very simple. And this cycle has been working for billions of years, and all the life on earth depends on it. Now you don't need to write all this. While you are answering this question, you just have to simply write the definition in 2 lines and go directly into the elements and how they are interrelated. This all is not required in UPSC because you will waste a lot of time and you don't have that much time to write. Next to air, water is the most important element. The distribution of water on earth is quite uneven. So they are just giving you facts, and many locations have plenty of water while others don't. The hydrological cycle is the circulation of water within the earth's hydrosphere in different forms, liquid, solid and gaseous phases. So this is also a definition. So you can either write this definition, you can otherwise write that this particular definition also that I told you before. Both are fine. It also refers to continuous exchange of water between the oceans, atmosphere, land surface and subsurface and the organisms. So basically hydrological cycle is the exchange of water, or is the exchange of water between the oceans, the atmosphere, land surface and the subsurface and the other organisms which live on the earth. Alright, so what are the, so this 2-line definition you have to give this for this particular question which I showed you, and after that you have to show the interrelation between the elements. Now these are the elements, okay, components and the processes. Water storage in oceans. So one component will be water is stored in the ocean, water is stored in the atmosphere, water is in ice and snow here in the mountains, water surface runoff is also there from the surface to the ocean, and then groundwater storage. All these different are the components, and how they are interrelated? Well, they are interrelated by these various processes. Evaporation happens, condensation happens here, snow melting happens here, stream flow happens here, groundwater discharge happens here from the springs. So this particular process is described here. Now obviously remember that you can always not get the perfect answer from this book. You will have to do a little bit of Google search, but here this particular concept is so simple that you can simply write down it in your own words and use some of these particular keywords like evaporation, sublimation, evapotranspiration, condensation, etc. If you use these keywords, if you show all these 3-4 stages, and if you draw the diagram for UPSC, you draw a rough diagram like this for UPSC, then you will be good to go. In fact, this question does not require you to answer it in more than 100-120 words, I feel, and that will be enough to get very good marks in UPSC. So the second question is, examine the factors that influence the temperature distribution of oceans. Now this particular question is very straightforward. How is the water of oceans temperature distributed in the ocean waters? And this particular topic is given here, simply straightforward, and they have given the temperature, the factors that are affecting the temperature distribution, latitude, unequal distribution. So whenever I am talking to students, students are asking me, sir, how do we remember all this? See, you don't have to remember all this. What you have to remember is the concept. You have to understand the concept. And how do you understand the concept? First you understand, okay, there is an ocean, there is an ocean, water ocean, entire this ocean of water, and then this particular ocean has different characteristics, which is it is spread around the globe. Okay, so it is spread around various latitudes. Okay, it is spread around various land masses. There is ocean near the land mass, there is ocean which is deep ocean far from the land mass. Then there is wind that is flowing around the oceans, which is also important. Alright, so this is how I will try to understand. And then there is ocean currents. There are all these ocean currents that are there, that are going around. Alright, these are the ocean currents. Sorry, there was a, so there is another chapter where these ocean currents are I think in the next, yeah, here in the next chapter, these various ocean currents are described. So like this, first of all, try to understand what are these parts of the ocean that ocean temperature can get affected from. It is the latitude, the distribution of the oceans around land, around sea, around deeper sea, then latitude, the winds and the currents. And obviously, these particular factors decide the temperature, because depending on the location of the ocean, where the ocean is located, the water will have a change in temperature, or depending on the depth of the ocean. So here another concept about this is given in thermocline, and how this concept of thermocline affects the temperature of the ocean depending on the depth. So the temperature depth of ocean shows how the temperature decreases with the increasing depth. The higher the depth, the lower the temperature. All right. So this is given here. So these two concepts you have to provide in this particular question. And the way to remember, like I said, is not through reading and try to remember each and every word. Try to understand the concept. Try to just remember the concept and the keyword, and that will be enough. Don't try to learn the words. So for example, latitude. The temperature of the surface water decreases from the equator towards the poles because the amount of insolation decreases polewards. Now what it is saying is that as you go towards the poles are on this side and this side, as you go towards the poles, the overall temperature decreases, right, because of insolation. So as the temperature decreases, the temperature of the surface. So this is common sense. As the temperature decreases, the surface water temperature will also decrease. So basically because of the latitude. So this is the latitude. Because of latitude, the ocean water temperature decreases or increases. Just remember that, write in your own words in the exam, but remember the keyword latitude. Then remember the keyword unequal distribution of land and water. So distribution of land and water is different. In the northern hemisphere, there is more heat due to contact with there is larger amount of land in the northern hemisphere compared to the southern hemisphere. So because of that, there is more contact with the heat, and that's why that is there. All right. So this way you should remember these particular concepts, and that is how you will get them right. Now what I want you to do is, I want you to go to the next chapter, movement of ocean water. I want you to do these questions. Okay. These particular questions about current. Use the diagrams to understand the concept and learn through diagrams also, and that will really help you. All right. So this was the short class on how you can use the NCERT back chapter questions to really increase your understanding, to have a good hold on various concepts, and like this other books also NCERTs you can practice. I will show more and more questions like this so that we practice together. All right. Thanks. Have a good day.